I'm Diane Austin. I'm the Director of Diversity, Inclusion, and Engagement in Human Resources. And we are partnering with the Association of MGH Multicultural Professionals to bring you the first virtual speed mentoring workshop. This is actually the third in the series, but it's the first time that we've done this virtually. And so if you haven't participated in our past events, I just want to tell you a little bit about what to expect. We will start with a panel discussion and give you an opportunity to learn a little bit about our esteemed leaders here at MGH. And then we're going to break you out into the infamous breakout rooms that we're all used to, I think, on Zoom. And you'll have an opportunity to talk to our leaders in small groups and ask your career and professional development questions, or ask questions about their careers and career trajectory. And it'll give you, we hope at the end, a great opportunity to just better understand how to think about your careers and your goals. And you'll see that we've been flashing some tips on how to get the most out of speed mentoring. So especially when you're in the breakout room. So we hope that you've had a chance to look at that. We'll try to bring that back maybe a little later. And without further ado, I do want to turn this over to Dan Mccarthy, who is a site supervisor in parking and commuter services and also an AMP board member. Thank you, Dan, for facilitating today.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you for that introduction. Again, my name is Dan Mccarthy. I'm the current scholarship chairperson here at AMP, but I will be the facilitator to start us off. So welcome, mentors, and thank you for agreeing to come speak to our group today. I'm sure this is going to be a very dynamic event and could possibly change lives, is what these events could do. So I'm going to read the biographies and introduce the mentors, and I wasn't sure how to do it, so it's it's by first name alphabetically. Okay, alphabetically. So we're going to start with Donna Matthews Jarrell. Dr. Donna Matthews Jarrell, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, has managed laboratory animal programs in government, industry, and academia for over 30 years. Donna joined MGH as the Associate Director of the Center for Comparative Medicine, or CCM, in late 2002, and was promoted to Director of CCM, as well as the attending veterinarian for MGH in January of 2013. Donna received both her undergraduate and her veterinary degree from North Carolina State University and became board certified in the veterinary specialty of laboratory animal medicine in 1996. She began her veterinary career working for the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, as a commissioned officer in the Public Health Service. Following that role, she served as the attending veterinarian for a contract research organization and a biofarm company. One of Donna's greatest accomplishments experienced during her MGH tenure is in her leadership and operations skills management. Donna introduced the Toyota Production System Lean Management Program as the department's operations strategy in 2004, after first learning about it at the Harvard Business School. Donna was also a founding member and the first president of the Vivarium Excellence Operation Network, and currently serves as the president of the American College of Laboratory Animal Medicine. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I think I take a few minutes and just.
I have to go, Donna. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to read the other bio.
Perfect.
First. Okay.
That's even better. Thank you so much.
So relax. All right. So next up is Jovita Thomas Williams. Jovita Thomas Williams was appointed Senior Vice President of Human Resources here at MGH and at the MGPO, or Mass General Physicians Organization, in April of 2019. Jovita came to MGH from Yale New Haven Hospital, where she served as the Vice President of Human Resources. Her HR leadership experience spans decades in a variety of industries, including healthcare, higher education, consumer products, manufacturing, hospitality, and entertainment across the United States, Europe, as well as Latin America. Ms. Thomas Williams holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Tuskegee Institute and earned both her MBA and her Master in Industrial and Labor Relations at Cornell University. Jovita is the proud recipient of both the Senior Professional in Human Resources and Global Professional in Human Resources professional certifications. Her healthcare experience began at the University of Toledo Medical Center in Ohio, where she was also the Vice President and Chief Human Resource Officer. Welcome, Jovita. Next up, we have
Thank you, Dan. I was trying to unmute myself, so thank you.
And next up is my new friend, Dr. Marie Borgella. Dr. Marie Borgella has a plethora of in-depth nursing experience, both as a bedside nurse and a nursing leadership here at MGH. Marie has served as a nurse manager, nurse director in academic medical centers, pediatric organizations, and community hospitals. She has led nursing teams specializing in pediatric neuroscience, general medicine, oncology, critical care, psychiatry, and substance disorder, all while working part-time or per diem at MGH since 2002. That looks like a pretty full schedule. Dr. Borgella holds a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing from University of Massachusetts in Boston, a master's degree in business management and nursing leadership from Regis College, and a doctorate in nursing practice from the MGH Institute of Health Professions. In 2019, Marie came home to MGH to accept a full-time position as nursing director of the brand new Bigelow 7 Medical Unit, where she built an entire new team and collaborated with hospital leadership to successfully open this new general medicine teaching unit. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you, Dan.
And to round our mentors up, William Rosales. Will has nearly 20 years experience in supply chain management, logistics, and process improvement in the healthcare industry. In his role as a senior operations manager in materials management, Will is dedicated to co-designing mobile solutions that help streamline operations, increase effectiveness of service, and improve reliability. In addition, Will is an active member of a variety of committees that include emergency preparedness, diversity and inclusion, and safety. Previously, Will spent more than a decade leading procurement and strategic initiatives for a large federally qualified community-based healthcare organization in New York City. Will received an executive MBA from Boston University, where he graduated with honors, and he received a BA in history and political science from Hunter College, the City University of New York. So welcome, Will.
Thank you, Dan.
And so now, to facilitate some panel discussion, we have a series of questions here, and I'm going to ask the questions in reverse alphabetical order, and I selected the questions at random for each mentor through a random calculator. So, sorry, my clipboard is not behaving. So my first question is to Will, and it is question number 1 of the questions that was sent out. Will, many of the mentees here today are interested in moving into management roles. Please summarize your career trajectory into management.
So I would say for myself, I kind of took a non-traditional path. I have immigrant parents that came to this country. We lived in under-resourced communities. And early on, I got into a little bit of trouble. I was a high school dropout initially. And so it took a little while for me to kind of get myself situated. But once I started working, I ended up in an organization that was helping to support communities that reflected like the upbringing that I had. And so I was really inspired by that. And I started at the bottom as, somebody who was just delivering mail. And for me, understanding what the mission of that organization was, I was fully committed and I made myself, available. I was very proactive. I made it a point to learn everything that I could at that particular organization. And slowly but surely, I got noticed. And I became a purchasing agent. Then after that, I became a manager. And by the time I left there, after 15 years, I was a purchasing director for the organization. And so I say non-traditional because, I first started working before I went and got my education. Ultimately, what I did was go back to school, get my BA, and then 3 years ago, went back and got my MBA so that I could have my academic credentials match my experience. So that's a summary of my career trajectory, pretty much.
Thank you, Will. I know you say it was non-traditional, but I've found that most people in leadership roles went the non-traditional role and ended up in roles they may not have saw themselves in at the beginning of their career.
Absolutely, yeah.
So thank you. So next up, we have a question for Marie. Marie, what are 3 things that we can all do to set ourselves up for success at work?
Thank you for the question, Dan, and thank you for the nice introduction earlier as well. I would probably have to say, study those that you admire, right? The best examples to learn from are those managers you already know and you absolutely admire. If you had or have a manager you love, then look to them. What do they do that you really appreciate? Try to pinpoint what makes them different from a bad manager you might have had in the past. Both can teach you what to do or what not to do. I think that's one thing you can do. Sometimes we tend to want to compete with others. I always say compete with yourself, right? Compete with yourself. No matter who you are or where you are in your career, there will always be someone out there who seems to have a better job or a better money. The secret to career success isn't about comparing yourself to others, but competing against yourself. It's about, striving for that progress, not perfection, right? If you are further along in your career than you were yesterday, you should be very proud and you should be very grateful and continue that same path. So I would definitely say, compete with yourself. The other thing that I think we tend to struggle with is driving with fear in the passenger seat. So I always, tell mentees to put fear in the back of the seat. It usually pops out when you're ready to make a career change or you're thinking about, something a little bit bigger than what you're doing. This is where he sort of creeps out and says, if you think of your driving, you're going too fast, you're going too slow. Fear comes out and says, oh, you're not good enough. You're an imposter. You're not going to be successful. Don't do it. Don't make a change. So I always say put fear in the back of the bus. The other thing too, I always like to think of is that we all have superpowers, Dan, and things that we do better than anyone else. And when you have that, use it as being very special as strengths that you have. And write that down so you can always lean on that.
Very good. Thank you for those words of wisdom. And I can relate to a lot of that too. Okay, for our third mentor question, we go to Jovita. Jovita, what are the behaviors or traits that often prevent employees from growing in their careers that they may not be aware of? And also, why is our personal brand so important?
Oh boy. Wow, I've already learned a lot from my co-panelists here, so I hope everyone is taking notes. So traits that I refer to it as derailing careers. First and foremost, when you stop learning. So you need to be a lifelong learner. We can all improve. We can all upskill. We can all do better than what we've been doing. I guess the best way to put it is what you did to get where you are won't get you to the next rung. So you really need to be open for the possibilities that there is additional learning that needs to take place. So become a lifelong learner so that you don't become a bit stale in your performance. Your personal brand is critically important because people make decisions about your career when you're not in the room. So you need to make sure that you understand what that personal brand is, good or bad. And you need to make sure you take some time to understand how you're perceived and how you want to perceive, how you want to be perceived. And Marie made a very good point. When you determined what type of manager you want to be known to be, make sure you lean into the positive at every opportunity. And we all make missteps. We're all human. And when we do, own it and move on. So I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for learning. And a part of learning is failure. Embrace it. A part of learning is our missteps. Own it and hold yourself accountable, but don't be afraid to continue to stretch your skills, your knowledge, your experience, and your understanding.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jovita. Okay, so for our final question to Will. Oh, we did Will already. I'm sorry. The final one is to Donna. Sorry, Donna, I'm going to forget you. So, Donna, I don't know if you remember me, but I was with police security in the Navy Yard for a number of years. So
I do. Absolutely.
It's good to see you again.
Yes, yes.
Where are we? So besides direct or applicable experience, what qualities and soft skills do you look for when you are considering hiring someone outside of your department or promoting someone within your department?
Wow, great question. And I appreciate everything that's been said so far about building your skill set, being lifelong learners. I would say whenever you're applying for a job, remember two things. One is that you are presenting yourself to the organization, but equally important, the organization is presenting themselves to you. And you want to find that place that taps into your passion. So you want to demonstrate your eagerness to take on the role that you're either applying for or that you're looking to be promoted into. In our organization, we do value problem solvers. So we're looking for people who naturally, when they see a problem, want to stop and address that. You want to highlight that that's who you are naturally. We're also always looking for individuals who can communicate authentically and clearly. So I don't want to classify your communication in some sort of sterile way. You can communicate the way you communicate. I'm from the South, and I tend to use Southern terms from time to time. But I still am very focused on making sure that my message is clear, and I ask for feedback so that I know that I was heard. Don't assume that your first impression or that people already know you. Sell yourself in that process. We're definitely looking for those who understand the mission. As I heard earlier, I think it was Will saying in his first job, what motivated him was what was the mission that the organization was focused on. Because then you'll be interested in moving around. If you're in an opportunity today that you don't feel like matches your passion, I would say find out what it is that you're missing before you consider making the next move. You don't want to move from one bad situation to another one. So communication, if I can summarize it, communication, being your authentic self, I think it's really important these days, which then will demonstrate your passion. Listen and learn. And, I think you'll make some bad mistakes, but we learn from our bad mistakes as well as our successes. In fact, I often think we learn more when we fail than when we succeed. So I'll end it there.
Well, I agree with that. I think every failure is another opportunity for another success. So thank you, mentors, and I will turn it now over to Emmanuel.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, mentors, for this wonderful panel discussion. We are now going to move into the breakout rooms. Everyone's going to be in a breakout room, and there will be a mentor in each breakout room, and it will be a 15-minute limit for each mentor. And the mentors will be rotating throughout all 4 breakout rooms so that everyone gets a chance to ask questions and interact with all 4 mentors. So all the breakout rooms are going to open right now.
We're down to our last 5 minutes, and so I'd like to ask the leaders, and I'll call on you to just in 1 minute or less, since we only have a few minutes, if you could just share one piece of advice to the participants, either based on the questions that you were asked, or just something that you want to impart to the group. And I'll start with Marie.
I think I shared, to surround yourself with colleagues and peers that are going to lift you higher, that come in with a positive attitude and continue that growth mindset, right? And I challenged everyone, Diane, to create a personal mission statement. That's going to help you define your brand and keep you focused and not derail. So hopefully everyone that I had the opportunity to meet, create that mission statement. I had a great time, by the way. I loved it.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Thank you. So in my Hollywood Squares, Will, you're next.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diane. Yeah, it was nice meeting everybody. I would say one thing that's always important to me is, to put your best foot forward. In work, there's a lot of things that influence you in a positive and a negative way. And if you let that bring you down, it impacts how things reflect on you. So I would say that, ultimately at work, be here for yourself. Know that if you have a good manager or a bad manager, you still are representing yourself. You're still representing your brand. And that's always important and to understand and to maintain, because somebody's always watching. Somebody will always take notice, and you might not realize it, but a lot of opportunities can come that way if you always have integrity, professionalism, and you just present yourself in the best manner from day to day.
Excellent. Jovita, what would you like to share with the group? You're on mute. Jovita, you're on mute. Yeah.
Oh, I can't. There we are. I did it. Sorry about that.
No.
I would say, don't take yourselves too seriously. Make sure you have the proper balance between work and your personal individual selves, because sometimes we put too much emphasis on just one segment of our lives, and the other segment tends to suffer. So this is there's a reason they call it work, and work should not be who you are, it's what you do. And we want to make sure that as long as you don't lose your authentic self, and your authentic self is going to make you the successful person you can be. So don't take it too seriously. It's all about what you bring as a full-fledged, 100% individual. It's like work. I'm the senior VP of HR. That's what I do. That's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you know the difference.
Thank you, Jovita. And Donna?
I'll say ditto to all of what you've heard before. If I could add anything, I go back to the little sign that's over my sink in my kitchen that says, do what you're passionate about and happiness will follow. And what I would say is that you got to have that passion, because there's going to be those days when you do not want to go to work, or you do not feel up to what you've got to face. But if you're passionate about it, usually that's what's going to carry you through. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to turn the floor over to Emanuela to close.
Thanks, Diane. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight, this evening, and making this a successful event for us. I want to send a special thank you out to our mentors who have taken the time this evening to share their wisdom and take time to interact with all of our participants. Thank you, Jovita, Donna, and Will and Marie. And I also want to say thank you to the AMP board members who are here with us this evening and have facilitated the panel's discussion and also facilitated the time in our breakout rooms. So thank you so much to Dan, Lisa, Rolando, Nancy, and I believe there's one more person. I think I said everyone. Oh, and Mustafa. Thank you, Mustafa, for waving. I appreciate that. Well, thank you everyone for being here tonight, and have a good night.